Okay, welcome to the September 10th meeting of the RSU with 14 Withdrawal Committee. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the June 24th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, motion carried. Next item would be reports of the subcommittees. Marshall, do you want to bring us up to speed on where you are on the budget side?
Sure. I want to make it absolutely clear that what I have to say tonight is dealing with a foundation. It has got nothing to do with where we're going to go with schools. But we have to have some place to start, and this is where we are, okay? So there are several areas that we're looking at.
Marshall, before you get started, do you have the copy that Mark Eastman had? He said he had actually a draft of one that Chris Howe did up, I think, or Dawn Davis, one of those did up.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
never mind on that, right?
No. I need to do this my way for the
No,
first
I'm good with
part.
that. No.
I'm not gonna try to get into Chris's head and to see where he came up with those numbers, because I was not in the same.
I guess I was just looking to where it compares that, is what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm
Nope.
not even gonna, I didn't
Okay.
even do that, yep. Okay, so now,
Boom.
we have, and if this isn't big enough, let me know, I can make it a little bit bigger, I don't wanna lose the integrity.
There you go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry,
You just lost the integrity.
yeah. What we have is the original 2008, 2009 RSD, Raymond School District budget, which I have converted into the appropriate RSU accounting numbers, okay, so that I can match an apple to an apple. And the one I have up here now, there are 9 different categories, but the one up here now is just the Raymond Elementary School Cost Center 01. It gives you the name of the category, the function number, and what the original budget was in this category, what the original budget was in 2008, 2009. That is where my foundation starts.
What's the talking noise?
I don't know who he's talking to.
It's back, it's the feedback from in there.
Oh, he's got
Oh,
He's on the phone.
speakers
all
on.
right.
So I'm pretty comfortable starting here. And then in this particular column, I was able to clearly identify numbers from the RSU 14 version 6, 2019-2020 budget that directly reflected to cost centers in Raymond. And the first one is the guidance. In 08 it was 68,000, in 09 it was 42,000. The difference being they have taken some of the benefits and they have pooled them into a 900 category. So I cannot come in and say guidance costs us the same as it did last time. The job that we have in front of us is to go back and redetermine what those numbers would be if in fact we had a guidance counselor in RES.
So it wasn't the fact that they might have had 1.5 guidance counselors?
I don't know what they did in 09, in 19. I know what we did in 08.
Okay.
Okay? And again, Joe, this is just the foundation. That's one of several hundred questions that we have, is where do we, how do we develop a guidance number for 20 and 21? Okay? So, is that making sense to everybody here so far?
Mm-hmm.
We get into this RES noon monitor. This is one example where there was no noon monitor delineated in 08, but there was in 19. Okay, I don't know what that was. It must have been an overpaid benefit because they didn't carry one forward in 20.
It got
Yeah,
sent to a
there's a bunch of
different-
that going on, but reassigned, renamed, recategorized, whatever. There's a bunch of that going on, but we can find that out. But anybody, if we're all okay with the process is what I'm looking for. then we will go forward here. This is just a synopsis for RES, and the next document is the actual numbers, and this is gonna be a little bit harder to bring up. And again, I don't wanna lose integrity here. Okay. In the 19-20 budget, the guidance was 68,000, 51,000 in salaries, 15 in benefits, so forth and so on. We can break that out, okay? The benefits in general, right, and I have to use general terms, is running 35 to 40% of the actual salary numbers. So that's an easy number to project out. You take the salary, add 40%, add a cost of living, whatever the union contract says it is, and that's your new number. Okay. So
And are you again comparing 2008 to 2019 right here?
this particular document is 2008 expanded. I just showed you a synopsis the first time. This is still Raymond Elementary, but this is every individual cost center in Raymond Elementary.
Right, so what are the two columns? Oh, sorry,
This is 08 and 20.
okay.
Okay?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. This orange category is numbers that appeared in 08 but do not appear in 20. This is the benefits. In 08 they were lumped. In 19 and 20 they were broken out. PERS, unemployment, health, dental, et cetera, et cetera. There's about 9 different categories they use for benefits. These categories here, the gray ones, were not in 08, but they do appear in 19 and 20, do appear in that budget. So those need to be looked at too. Why was there an increase in group health insurance? Well, the answer is they broke it down, so we can again combine and come up with a number. Okay. The RES nurse's salary was $32,000 in 08. It's not in the 19-20 budget. The reason is they have a lump category called 900, and this is going to be a little bit harder to read. Okay, 900 is those categories that are divided throughout the 7 or 8 schools. I forget how many there are. If you throw Katahdin in, I think there's 8, and they take those costs and they put them into the 900 category. And then we pay 35% or whatever that number is, okay? So we can go in and because we have these numbers here, in this column, we can go back in and we can pull out the numbers here, because the cost centers and the allocations inside the cost centers would be the same. Okay, so we can pull those numbers out. That's a very lengthy process. There's 450 items in this one category. So that's where we are on that. This is another little interesting graph that I did just cause. And this shows where we have been and where we could have gone. FYE 0809. The school budget that was approved by the town was $8.4 million. Okay. And then when the honeymoon started, the costs went down through economies of scale. And then they came up, and then in 13 the honeymoon was basically over. And that's when the economies of scale lost their impact. And there's a couple reasons for that. So when we get into 15 and 16, you can see over here in this column, we have the where the cost sharing impacts were, okay? And they went from 45.55 down to 36.64, which is where they are now. And then if we'd have stayed in the union, if we'd have stayed our own, we'd have probably be around $11.3 million. Using a sports analogy, that would be my first baseline.
How did you get to 11.3 million when student population was probably decreasing?
By taking an average of 3% per year,
Per year.
which was the
Okay.
3%, 3% per year, okay? And taking that out to 11.
And that's just assuming everything stays static.
That's assuming that, yeah, population stayed the same, the state funding stayed the same, teacher out, a bus in stayed the same, that methodology all stayed the same. That's just an eyeball, or a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So, the actual numbers are in this column. It was projected to be 9.5 million in 2019, but because of the differences in the allocations of real estate values, estate valuations, we took a major hit this year. So it went up to 10.4 million. Okay, so using that as a foundation, in 2 years we would be at 11.4 million, which is pretty close to the 11.3, give or take 3%. Okay, so that's where we are on a first baseline basis. The last 6-year average on the school budget increase has been 4.69%, which is pretty. And this year you can see it was 9.2% because of the valuation. One good reason to withdraw is to get out of that formula. It's hurting us more than it's helping us.
The formula is going to change though too, 2020.
I don't think it's going to be to our advantage when you're dealing with state valuations.
No, because what happens is you can look at it so many different ways, and it was brought up by Chris Howe at one of the meetings, is the contract on this has to be looked at. You looked at it so many years is what it is. In 2020 we'd be renewing it. You can look at student population, you can look at valuations, you can do a mix. It's a mix right now. And so, yeah,
We need to get out of that.
yeah, it's going to hurt us.
Okay. So that's that.
So can I just ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Feel free. I have a thick skin. Feel free.
No, I don't. No, I'm gonna need thick skin because you're gonna be like, can't you figure all this number stuff out? Can I just ask why
He's doing it.
you didn't carry column E on line 29, 31, and 33?
I can if you give me a couple.
Because it would just
29.
be, I just think we're not necessarily comparing apples to
Not trying to.
apples there.
Not trying
Okay.
to. My conversation is not what it was. It's where it is now. It's in this column.
Because, but I'm saying, so if we're looking at, column F is assuming we don't withdraw.
No,
correct?
column F is exactly where we are financially now.
All right, so what are those projections on 29, 31, and 33? See, you're gonna get really annoyed with me. I need the thick
No.
skin.
No, I'm with you.
Okay.
That's why I'm sitting thinking, I'm glad he's doing the budget. And then I catch on to it.
I don't do budgets.
What those are is,
If you take
he's taken the average increase year to year.
21.
And he's applied
This is
those
the actual
through
number.
20, 21, and 22.
Yep.
6-year average per year.
Right. But that's the actual number that we are at today.
Now, today.
Right.
And so now your line on 31 and 33 you're projecting out 1 year and then 2 years on that, assuming we stay where we are, because you're basing it off of that $10 million. Wouldn't you love it to be 10,000? $10 million number.
We got 3 kids in the school for 10,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So how come you didn't do line 31 and line 33? Because E24.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't,
That's your first baseline of if we were to
No.
be, then what is E?
No.
What is E? I'm confused.
E
now.
was just a historical average of where we could have been, and the purpose of that was to show the impact on the marriage. Right here, and where we went down on the marriage. When the honeymoon was over, the marriage being the Wyndham Raymond our issue. When the honeymoon was over, then we started to get into some, what I would consider normal increases. This column really, I should do this.
Well, because that column when you're comparing both of those, doesn't it show
No,
that
we're not comparing it. We're not comparing that to that.
But if you're saying that column E is where you would have projected staying as a Raymond school district, right? So isn't this a good marriage then? Aren't we saving $2 million? I'm just not quite understanding this.
No,
Okay,
because
I
you
see
gotta-
where you're going.
But you've got to consider, you've got a decreasing
Right,
population.
right.
So
But
you
higher
would,
special ed costs.
you know,
But you're also assuming only a 3% increase every
Right.
year, when the school district
Right.
has been going up 4.6.
because what has to be established is, okay, if we, the fact is, ultimately, you can extrapolate some of that stuff back out there, but the exercise is to get to say, okay, if we were to have this done today, we know what the budget that we're doing from the RSU. When we blow all this stuff through, we're gonna come up with a number. That's the number you wanna compare against column F.
And the number that I'm trying to get across to you would be somewhere between 11.3 and 11.5 going into it.
Because that's where
Starting
you're gonna be this year, or
So you-
next year.
That's where we're gonna be.
So let's say withdrawal would happen in 2021,
2021.
right? And you're thinking we'd be, okay, thank you.
Actually, it would be
2020.
21, 22,
It would be 21,
So that last
22
line.
school year.
That last line.
because we would have to vote in a November election.
Okay.
And it would
This-
be
The budget that we're
2021
preparing would
budget.
take effect in June of '21.
Yep, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want this to be, was drawn for an example, it's not a hard number, please understand.
Oh,
that,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
I can't go out 2 years.
I'm just
right
trying to get my brain to process
now. Okay,
it.
but
which-
I have to have a place, I have to have a target number.
Yeah.
You have- you-
So that's one
Yeah.
target number.
Yeah, understand. I get it now.
You brought up, and it's all your fault, special ed.
Yeah. You cannot target this one. This is nuts.
This is a very interesting category. This is what we've taken out of the 900 basket and pulled into direct special ed costs. And there are 3 categories in there. One is the CIDA director, which is curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And in that category, the gifted and talented rests, and I'm not sure why. That, to me, should be a special ed category, because special ed, to me, covers both sides of the spectrum, not just the low side.
Other than the fact that gifted and talented doesn't fall under mandates, doesn't fall under the mandated programs.
Well,
And historically, G&T gets cut in
yeah,
favor of
that's the problem.
Special.
special ed.
Mhm.
So anyway, I happen to have a fondness for gifted and talented. I think there's a lot of stuff that could happen in there, but anyway, it's only $300,000, big deal. The Katahdin head of school, that's another example where we may or may not have an impact. Okay, I'm not sure how many of our kids actually go to the Katahdin school, and if the same tuition rate would apply.
Is that the old real school?
Yes.
I was gonna say, because it used to be
Yeah,
up,
the alternative ed school.
they just brought it back to Wyndham, I believe, because it was at Camp Hines.
Yeah, it was at Hines.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is physically.
It's at the high school now. There was
They
no,
did bring it
there
back.
was, they couldn't use a kitchen, or there was no
Oh, I-
kitchen or something at Camp
It's
Hines.
still being built.
Yeah.
Special ed, as a former special educator, I can say that I can see some possible savings in this area. What I see is they had, I'm gonna go right down to it. Evidently, the school board made a decision to not subcontract out contracted services, and they hired everybody. It
could have been
appears that
before
their
me.
budget reflects, and it's right here, their speech, psychological, occupational, physical therapy, and professional salaries all bulked into, and they're all being paid as normal educators, benefits, the whole 9 yards, stipends, the whole 9 yards. And that was up 18% over the year past. The $2 million in that one category, 700,000 of it would be ours. I'm not sure we would need to hire those people. I know we need those services, but in years past, we've had contracted services.
Oh.
Okay, so I think there could be some savings in there. The other one, and I'm not sure about this one, English language learner, I'm not sure what impact that would have here in Raymond. I know that in Westbrook, they're really starting to struggle because there's been some big housing develops in Westbrook, and I think they're assuming that that's going to flow into Wyndham, if not now, very soon. I'm not sure Raymond would have an impact, but that's another special ed category that we could take a look at. And there are others. Most of this is in salaries, obviously. There's resource room placements, there's self-contained. I'm not sure how many self-contained rooms we used to have, probably one in each building.
Yeah, I think RES had one.
There's one
Yeah.
there now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would cost us $1 million to run one, or $300,000 to run one
How many,
self-contained room. I don't know. I
how
know
many
what you're
added
asking.
district placements are there?
As far as I know, there's 3, and they call them private placements. And I'm guessing because a private placement is about $75,000 apiece. So there appears to be 3 out-of-district placements. I know we had one at Massachusetts at one point in time, didn't we? Long
Yeah.
time ago.
Actually, I thought we had one in Florida at one time.
Yeah, so they can get expensive. I know in Lisbon, we had one in Rhode Island. It was very expensive. So anyway, I think there can be some savings in there. So what I'm suggesting is that special ed could be looked at for some savings. And I think where we are now is, I will have, going back to the synopsis, we have categories that we need to develop and come out of the system-wide. Can everybody see that okay? Sorry. These are the system-wide costs, which we can bring back into the individual Jordan Small and Raymond Elementary improvement in instruction. That's now called CIA. And it used to be 61. I don't know what it's going to be now. Technology, Kevin Woodbury and somebody from my team will sit down with him and try to develop a budget based on the 08-09 budget and see where we are. There are 2 components to that budget, which I'll get into in a second. There's whatever the school board is going to cost us, the superintendent, transportation budget, out of district transportation was something else, and school nurse and a contingency. So those categories we're going to take a look at. And these numbers over here, school nurse. One of the things on my wish list would be to have considered a school nurse in each building. And I think that, when you're dealing with high school kids, a school nurse, 1 for every 400 is great. But not when you're dealing with young kids. And I have to ask, do we have pre-K yet?
No.
Okay, then we will in probably a year.
It's expensive.
Well, not yet.
Yeah, but they're
But
making it,
even for that, you're gonna
implementing
need a nurse. So if we had a nurse in each building, it would be 80,000. Okay, and
I know
that's,
they did a nurse and a half before, and I know that we had big meetings when I was on the school board regarding kids that were diabetic and the medicines on time because they're little and stuff like that, so yeah.
okay, did I bore you with numbers? Okay. I wanna go back to a couple other things I can talk about. If I can find them. Sorry. This is what I need for information.
Not that.
Do it your way. I need to know how many buses are gonna come forward, because that goes into the maintenance of the buses and it goes into staffing. So at some point in time, and I'll put a date on this later.
Well, it's part of the proposal.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's okay, I understand all that. I'd like to get a student count by grade, I think I can get that
Yep.
relatively quick. I'd like to get a special ed count. I'd like to get their estimate on pre-K, which K was 50 this year, was it 49 or 50?
3 classrooms in Raymond,
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
great.
But it was, the number was around 50, so I would assume pre-K would be in that range. It appears that we have.
Probably not, because you have to understand with pre-K, it's typically a half day, so most families
My wife's a
can't
pre-K
take care of
teacher, and
that.
they do two, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. 20
I understand
kids,
that,
yeah.
but to enroll, like, you'd only have half day of coverage, you have to find. It's a this is some of the work I do statewide, and they're
Yep.
having a really hard time filling pre-K classrooms.
Really?
Public pre-K classrooms,
Wow.
because of childcare
My
issues.
wife's school, there was,
Yeah,
it's a lottery system, there were
yeah.
3 times what the slots were. Anyway, I'd like to get a handle on the pre-K registration. I'd like to know what was in the 19 and what was in the 20 capital budget that wasn't done. Technology budget, system, there's 2 parts to this, as I said earlier, there's a system-wide equipment, what's it gonna take to get into the school, what's it gonna take to provide computer access to the school, and then what actually happens in the classroom. Are we gonna lose what we have as far as equipment, so forth and so on. And then the technology upgrades, there would be town technology upgrades too, that we would need to consider. The maintenance budgets, they speak for themselves. Did everybody go over and see the new playground at RES? I went over it on a Sunday just so I wouldn't see anybody else, and it looks nice. And I said to myself, well, there goes one of the 5 evils for the withdrawal.
Mr. Seymour and his wife donated one of the apparatus, which
Yeah.
was so
The
nice.
Pegasus
Okay.
net.
The what?
There's
The
a
spider net?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool
great.
thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but good for them.
So transportation we have, and then the co-curricular, I'm not sure how effective our co-curricular would be. We need coaching, we have PE teachers, I know, but I'm not sure whether we have outside coaching, how far do we go?
I think
And
most of the coaches are from right here, aren't they?
Teachers.
Yeah, they're usually volunteer.
Teachers, they get a stipend for.
Right, they
get
get
a stipend.
usually teachers do. And then whatever programming comes up with as far as their wish list, so to speak. So that's where I think.
Did you have food and stuff in there?
I have
Robert?
nutrition in
Okay.
another category,
Okay, perfect, thank you.
and that was on
No,
my
they don't
wish
get-
list.
no. Everyone brings
Okay.
their own lunch.
Yeah.
So
Good luck
it's-
with that.
As soon as we send our proposal to the RSU, it's technically public information, correct?
In theory, yes, but the
Yeah.
fact is, it's until it comes back after, if there's a counter proposal to it or whatever, it's one of those that, something that's in there may not be in there in the final
Well,
thing, so-
no, I think what I'm trying to do is, if that part of it is at least, then Marshall can have access to it to get some of the information that we talk about in there without,
Let me tell you what my timeline is. I'm gonna have Kevin Oliver take a good chunk of this over the next 3 months, and I'm gonna take another good chunk of it over the next 3 months. And if I can be in a position to say to you in early January, this is where I think we're going to be, then I would be very happy with that.
I don't see.
But I don't need access to anything right now.
I don't see, because I don't see it, my gut says, the last iteration of this, I don't think there may be some little minor tweaks and things like that,
Yeah.
but I mean, we were at that 95% level,
Yeah.
so, but I just, and the feeling was not much was gonna happen over the summer, just because.
Yeah, we don't know.
Just because it's the
Just
summer.
give me some time to
You know,
build.
So, that's the counter proposal's been given to them, but just in these last few days, so they really haven't had a chance to really look at it. So they'll do whatever they're gonna do on there, and then we'll see where we are on that. But I think some of these questions that you've got there, Mark can certainly if it's
We'll
not
develop
answered
over
in there,
time,
he can
yeah.
get those pretty easily from Chris and that they've been, there's been no problem in getting that information up to date, so.
These are some of the assumptions. I have to have a platform of assumptions for a budget, and we have a new pre-K going in 2021. I'm pretty sure that'll happen. No new technology hardware purchases for 2021. Katahdin School remains the same. High school students at state tuition rate. No new bus purchases for 2021. No increase or decrease in professional staff. Can substitute, replace, but not increase or decrease. I figured a part-time SE director at 030 certified, a part-time superintendent at 010 certified. The school choice remains in effect.
On bus purchases, there's been a little bit of a change in the way those have been done in the last number of years, in that based on the price, they're not doing straight purchases, they're doing leases they're doing like, what, 3-year leases?
Yeah, I think so.
So they're doing
Leases with a buyout at the end, aren't they?
probably,
I would think.
see that, well, I mean, I guess, once that finally happens and we have it, then, we're gonna drive whatever, we're gonna be, we'll have the ability to do what we wanna do in a lease, whether we do a buyout or whether you turn it in, do
Right.
what, whatever's gonna work there, but, we'll be doing the contracting on the leasing for that, so.
Last thing I want to show you is this little, these are for those people that think we should not withdraw. There's a company out there, can you see that, Kate?
I am the youngest one at this table.
I know, and you've probably got the best eyes.
I just got new eye.
Did you?
I did last week.
Good for you.
So now I don't need
I don't see
glasses.
anything right now. I
I
just see a
know.
bunch of
Wow.
blanks.
I know, I just lost it.
Ooh, good comeback.
There it is.
I didn't lose it for good.
You never do. That's why that backups.
It's tough to look at this and look at that and make sure you can read it. Sorry.
Well, this one has a glare on it. That one doesn't.
Yes, really, yeah.
Ah, I'm not gonna be able to do it.
Go up to view and do page view.
You get the point. You can see it pretty much. There's a company out there called School Digger. And School Digger has a rating system for all the schools in the United States of America. It's incredible. There are several others. The other one, the reason I chose School Digger is because they're not trying to sell you a bunch of real estate like the other ones are. Okay, so I think the other one was there's a bunch of names out there. But when you look at the ratings of these schools, Wyndham Primary is rated 67th, or they didn't rate Wyndham Primary for some reason, but
Can you
you
see
get
it?
down
it's
into the,
top. Oh,
30,
yeah, that was my
40,
rating based on
30.
something else, but Wyndham Middle School is 42nd out of 86, or 50 in the 51st percentile. Wyndham High School is 58th out of 114, which is the 49th percentile. And then you look at the two jewels in the system, and they're ours. Okay. Raymond Elementary is 69 out of 254th, and Jordan Small is 22nd out of 280 out of 86. So, what I'm suggesting is that if you take those out, they could be better. RSU 14th is rated 55th out of 148. So I thought that was interesting. And the scoring it went down from last year with the exception of Raymond Elementary and Jordan Small. And again, my source on this is School Digger. Okay. Have a good time. As a personal note,
You're so sarcastic today.
I went to New Haven to go to work. And when my wife and I decided where are we going to live, we're not going to live in New Haven, we looked at not where we wanted to live for town, but we looked at the school system. and we bought in this town that had the best school system. It happened to be number 3 in the state of Connecticut at the time. And my kids got a good education from that. And then my grandkids, my son made the same decision. And now they go to the number 9th rated school in Connecticut, which is East Lyme. And it's a great school system. So if we're looking to bring in people, buy houses in Raymond, then we need to have a better school system than 55th ranked. So that's it, unless you want to see something else. I've taken up enough time, I think.
That's good.
No, that's good. So your next steps is when Mark gets back, to get back with him with your list of your question list so that he
A
can.
lot of that stuff I can get on my own. I'm going to sit down with Nathan and say, Nathan, where are we? Where can we go?
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing with Kevin, which takes a big chunk out of that.
Mhm.
I mean, we know we would save on facility maintenance, on
Yeah.
snow plowing.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Well,
I mean, we used to.
Just for something that nobody fully knows yet, the RSU was having a hard time getting snowplow contractors.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And so,
I know this.
so one of the people they came to get a bid is us.
Again.
Which, if, I mean, based on where we are now with the new equipment we got for doing our own plowing and whatnot,
Right.
it's a perfect fit to come back in here. But I mean, it's things like that all comes into that one Raymond approach and things like that Teresa's gonna tell us about.
Well, Raymond is actually doing the plowing. Our guys are plowing the schools. Yep,
Yeah.
because their last year contract with whoever, they said no, they won't do it. So Raymond's going to be picking up the schools. Nathan told him yes. So regarding the one Raymond concept,
Well, can I
Oh,
just,
sorry.
one more, then I hope you can see this. I'm not sure I can make this any bigger, but this is the debt service schedule that Chris sent over. And I'm not sure I understand this thing. And I'm sorry, if I can make it bigger, I would. Might be able to here.
oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay?
What? I thought Raymond was paid off. Or
Elementary
yes.
school, next year.
Says down here that the Raymond RES school was refinanced. I'm not sure what that means.
The what?
RES was refinanced.
Refinanced
Yeah.
for a lower rate.
The state has refinanced the RES debt service, which reduced future payments. I thought that school was paid off.
I thought it was paid off.
It should have been.
That
Yeah.
was, wait a minute.
No, we didn't have any debt on that.
No,
No.
That was
that should have retired last year.
Wasn't
Says
This,
May 29, oh, no, sorry, I'm reading it wrong.
This is FY
No, I was
20.
looking at the May 19 too.
Yeah.
So,
And the high school was refunded, which I'm not sure what the difference is, refunded and refinanced. I'm not sure what they're using that word for. But assuming that debt service is one of the components I need to look at, and I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
Well, the
we had no
debt
debt
service
going in there for the high
on
school.
RES
Should be zero.
should be zero
Right.
It was
after
a
2020.
20-year,
I think we had one,
1999.
I
No,
think we have one
no,
more payment to
2000
do
the kids
on
started, 'cause my kids started when they opened in
when we paid
2000.
for the
The year before.
upgrade over here.
Right.
Before the RSU, we did an upgrade there, and we bonded that. That bond payment concludes this year.
Right.
So, so going into any new, separation, we shouldn't have debt service on either of those buildings.
No, we should
What
only
we
have
would
debt service
have,
on high
what
school.
we would have, that we still would have, that you have to carry in there, we still have some obligation on the
The
high school.
Right.
yeah.
Which
but
appears to
not-
be $1.2 million a year.
But not Raymond Elementary. We didn't have any.
No. Okay, so this needs to be looked at, and then there's a debt schedule and bond schedule and all that stuff. But anyway, I wanted to raise that issue with you folks to see, to plant a seed in there.
Thank
Done?
I can be.
Thank you.
There's a lot of work there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work
Thank you.
there.
And unfortunately, there's a lot more to go.
Oh, I know there is.
That was a lot.
And I'm literally thinking, thank God I ain't on that group.
Okay.
All right, the one
What-
Raymond. We had a good group meet.
Okay if I stay here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a public meeting.
It's a public hearing,
And you were at this meeting too.
because I want to ask you something afterwards, too.
I don't want to be 3 selectmen in the same room without.
That's a public meeting,
It's
so.
a public, it's a public
Okay.
meeting, and it's taped, so.
All right, so we had a good meeting, and one of the things that we can, like the plowing, the facilities maintenance, you know, we kind of looked at it as if we have one person that oversees all the buildings, and we can have like the sub people underneath of it, like, you know, how they had like Donna or whatever over in the school and that type of thing. Also with mechanic, we have a mechanic in now, and then we can bring another one in to be able to fix the buses and still do, you know, all the trucks in town and stuff like that. Technology is we can combine and figure out what comes with us, you know, if we do withdrawal, and that we could have like Kevin or whatever talk to Mr. Hickey. Or was it Mr. Hickey that was there before? He's still there, right? Yeah. Okay. So that way we know. Town staff, between the town and the school, we can have an accounting person that does payroll for both. We can do, it would probably be it would be a payroll person that does that, and then we'd have probably an accounting person and a half to be able to do both. The human resources, whether you're school or town, it's still where we would be able to cover both of those instead of having 2 in the town.
But you're assuming you will have the same benefit package for the school and the municipality.
Which we don't now.
That's the only way you can do one HR person.
That's what I'm getting to now. Exactly. So what we would have to definitely look at is with the number, what can we offer our town and our staff that we would negotiate because of the contracts is what it is. And that would be we have, unemployment liability and the medical and dental would be in there too. Lease agreements on equipment. We could probably get deals as far as the schools go and
I mean,
town.
you would have to think about the retirement plan,
Mm-hmm.
because teachers have state retirement.
Well, we would, because of where they are on their contracts, like here's the contract, we would, they would be negotiating that already, do you know what I mean? And then we would do that, but possibly taking what we have for the school employees to do the town and see what we can do together.
Right.
You know what I mean, to save on that type of thing. You can buy bulk and like the with the electricity, the oil. One thing that we're waiting on and trying to play out to see too is solar panels for the fire. Was it the fire station and I think the building right down here. But we said that if we got the schools back, that has that top flat building. That might be a really good possibility as far as looking into that. Same thing with purchasing for oil. That would be a really good one on that. So it's kind of like the central office that was there before would be the business manager and the special ed director. I look at the special ed director is to me is in a category all themselves. They really are, because each kid
Each kid is different.
it is, and you don't know, and you've got to work. You can't pick up a paper and check the boxes. You got to look
No.
what that child needs, and I think that's an issue that goes on now. Is too many people
Well,
look
we
at
had-
that.
we had
And
a- we
that's
had
why
a-
you need an 030 certified, because you gotta know what to put in each box. And a lot of
we
these
had-
282s don't have
We
them.
had a dedicated,
But she was
special ed
not
director
certified.
we had.
She was not certified.
Yeah, no.
she was working on, and it was a straight yes. It was a situation,
need it
shouldn't have been the
certified.
way it was, but.
But I don't know. I think literally just what we can do is just, I think breaking it down when we start getting it back, and seeing I think how the buildings are used. Do you know what I mean? That maybe what we can do is utilize maybe some of the building that we had talked about before a while ago several times is like, if you've got a whole wing in the school that somebody's not, that you're not using but you're paying for, you know, what can we do to add to that for the community? You know what I mean?
Well, and the gym, especially the gym.
Yeah. So,
Right now, I guess we pay somebody pays to use a gym, which is ridiculous, but.
Yeah, because it lost,
Right.
well, it
Well-
lost what was supposed to happen, because the gym,
Right.
the town bought the gym.
Right.
Right, it was totally separate from the school, the town had
Right.
control,
Right,
well,
and then
Now
the
we don't.
RSU took it over.
right.
because one of the things that we're investigating now is, you know, like the communications person that I brought up at the select board meetings, and because of getting word out to people too. But, you know, when you've got a school that will not allow Girl Scouts to come in to just advertise, and Alyssa Messer and somebody else, and I can't remember who the other person was, they had to fight, and they got it. They could have it on opening night, but that's the only thing. They could just hand out pamphlets and stuff, and to me, keeping kids busy is important instead of just having them sit around watching the TV. But when you don't allow this stuff to come into the schools, and I think that's going to be, you know, as a town, you know, working together with that One Raymond thing, is you got to pull in all the different extracurricular stuff too, is what it is.
Recreational part of it.
The
Yep.
Girl Scouts are not allowed in the schools anymore?
No, they're allowed to school, they're not allowed to hand out pamphlets.
Yes.
You can't post,
But you have to pay- you
you
have-
can't post things on there for anything other than school.
You can if the PTO approves it.
The PTO has cut back a lot of stuff too, if you noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to draw
Yeah.
the line somewhere. You can't have a million things going home or everything gets lost in, as a current parent, if I have a million flyers
Well,
coming home,
yeah.
it will get lost in the shuffle.
Well, but I think like opening night, it would be great, and I know that they had to fight to get that in on that one too. But I think, you know, and I, just from what I'm understanding too, the school is upset with the PTO putting information out there that they don't want the PTO putting out. Don't know the whole story behind that yet, but I don't know. I think it's got to be. I know it's two towns working, you know, as one school district, but we got to get it back. I think the community's got to be able to get it out there, because like right now, like I know just for instances, they used to send stuff home, soccer sign up, rec sign up, and as you get 50,000 pieces of paper. I remember that. But what happens is then you have one little kid that says, "Oh no, my kid didn't get signed up." So guess what? I'm on texting, "Hey, who's doing, you know, pre-K?" Boom, and you got the kids signed up, you know, but it gets community involvement is what it does. So
It would be nice to get back to a small town feel
Oh, yeah,
where
Yeah.
you use common
Especially-
sense.
yeah. The recreational opportunities that we've lost over the years are incredible.
Like what?
Ski trips, using school buses.
yeah, they don't allow that anymore. They haven't allowed that for a while.
RSU won't allow the use of school buses to take the kids up to the mountain. So that so instead what they had to do is they had.
Oh, I know my daughter did the ski.
Yes, they had to go and rent them from, and that got cost
It's cost
prohibitive, so.
prohibitive, yeah. So if you had a school bus,
I know, like Saturday morning
Swimming
basketballs and
lessons.
stuff like that too, just because it comes out of the kids' pockets is what it is, as far as renting it and stuff like that.
Do they
There's-
still do rec basketball on Saturday morning?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I think they have to pay for that.
yeah. Do they do adult
For-
volleyball at all, or some of those activities they do in other
Yeah,
communities?
but how do you know the school's the reason why that's gone? Like, that's what I'm,
They
if
want-
I'm on programs, then let's hear these things that we want to
because
add.
Because they're gonna charge you to play volleyball.
Yeah,
which
is what
not
it is.
right.
And they
It's
said they
not
don't
right.
have that. They said some parents right now can barely, you know, buy the well, they give out the uniforms or whatever, but they can't afford it to pay the extras to sign the kids up is what's happening. You know,
Well, they
So
take them
rec-
somewhere else.
So rec before, well, where are they gonna take them that's free? Where else
Well,
are they gonna
the-
take them to do a rec program that's free?
Well, gym use used to be free.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I'm saying, I wanted
as
to
long
hear
as you
what
were
this was.
here within the hours of the custodian staff. You know what I mean? Like if you were here like after 8 or whatever, but we always clean up. Gosh, there would be like Odyssey of the Mind in each of the rooms. There would be Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. I mean, there used to be a lot of rooms filled up that you would actually have to like look for an empty room to be able to use, you know, different functions and stuff like that. And I guess I wanna see that back.
The argument, I have to come back on the initial one. The argument is that I can't take them somewhere else for free. It's not valid.
No, but you just said that take them somewhere else, so I was just,
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
you're gonna have to
arguing
pay.
that, I'm just asking where are they taking them that's at zero cost?
No, you're adding at the zero cost. They're gonna have to pay to take them somewhere
Oh,
else.
okay.
Why would they have to do that here, when we own the gym?
But she made a really good point too.
Yeah, but then if you're gonna pay to take them somewhere else, why wouldn't you pay to have them play Raymond Rec?
Because you're already paying for taxes and you're already paying for school,
Should
that
be a
this
s-
is the
should
school
be a town
town,
service.
the school community school
So
is what
then
it is.
maybe the select board should put that as part of a benefit, that you'll pay the rec fee for all kids, like, if it's a town service.
Why
I don't know, why should it be the
Supporting the
select
rec fee
board?
already. In
I-
the budget, we're supporting the rec
Okay,
department.
so let,
Yeah.
There used to be men's basketball up
Yeah.
here on Sunday night.
Yeah.
We walk into the gym,
No,
we
that
play
I
for 2
understand.
hours.
That I
Didn't cost
understand.
us a thing.
and I get that, I totally get that, but I was just saying the take them somewhere else and you still would have to pay for them, so why would you take someone somewhere else if you can play right here?
Well, that's exactly the point we're making.
Well, it never used to cost
Right.
anything, is the
So
point.
you
But
had
like-
rec for little kids and it cost nothing? There was an
Did-
organized recreation program
And you
that
didn't have to
cost
pay
nothing.
to rent the gym, yes.
To rent
But
the
it
gym
costs
or use the
nothing to
buildings,
the
nothing.
families.
Well, it costs to register the kid, whatever
Yes,
that was.
each
So it
kid
was
was-
not free.
I mean, it was a nominal.
But it wasn't what you guys have now as a price list. There's a price
for
list for
gym
everything
rental.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to use the gym and stuff like that. But she brought up a really good point. She's on program, so she's looking to add, see?
But
Fine.
that gym was
Yeah.
paid for by the town,
Right.
voted on at a 1985, 86 meeting row.
Yep.
To put in that size gym.
I'm not
for the
arguing
town
that.
to
I'm just
use.
saying if there was a free recreation basketball program before, then let's factor that into our programs.
Go ahead, put
If
it in.
there was, I get the bus thing for the ski program, let's factor that stuff in. I mean, maybe it's free to our families, which is outstanding, but there's still gonna be a cost.
I would assume, Kate, that you, being responsible for programming, would come up with a nice big list.
But let's kick back to Joe's
Then we
here.
get back to reality,
I mean, like
And what, it all gets cut?
No,
Because it costs
no,
too much, and then
no.
my list is what we have, stuff we have now.
I think that 11,500,000 that I threw up on the board is way over what it would cost us to run these schools.
Even though you projected that if we stayed in,
would
right
be
now, we'd be at
11.3.
11.3.
Right,
But
and
in
I
2
think that's
years, we'd
way
be at
over.
11.4.
If we stayed in, I think
Yeah,
we'd be
but that
bringing in a
that
lot less.
projection is somewhat meaningless because it's taking a fixed number and just
Right.
escalating.
It's making an
Which
assumption
is
that I
not-
can't
Which
see.
is not doing
Right.
what he's doing now, which is saying, okay, based on population, head count and whatnot, using those figures, we're going to establish what that number is. Going forward, yes, you're gonna have escalators on there, but it's not gonna be escalated from the fact when we had all those, everything was completely full, you had 3 grades of each and things like that, so, that's why you can't take that and say that that's an absolute. All he's
Well,
done,
they're projections, I know they're not
all he's done there
absolutes.
is taken some things to create some baselines that
Right.
says, okay,
That's all it is, a
Yeah.
baseline.
and then at the end, once everything, once he's established, once they establish, okay, here, based on inputs from the school, based on this and here's where we feel it will be. And now, recognizing that going forward, yes, that's gonna increase.
No, I understand
Or
what a
decrease.
projection is. I know
Because I
that
can
that's
see
not
some
the actual.
decreases.
It's just, if we're using projections for both comparisons, the math doesn't make sense still.
Well, unless you have the exact student population count of each grade,
Which I don't have.
right, I don't know how you can make those projections.
I just threw a percentage out there
Right.
based on historical
Well,
stuff.
Right, exactly.
Right,
That's
I
it.
understand that.
And that's just saying if
Totally
you have
get it.
status quo, no growth, you have same number of kids,
Right.
this is where you would be.
Right.
But we don't have,
No,
Some
I
of the
get it. Oh, I
details
totally,
behind
I
it.
understand that they are projections. I totally get that. I really, really do. But
I'm
I'm
not sure
saying.
you do because it's not a projected number. It's
You
not
just said
meant-
they're projections.
It's not meant to be a projected number, it's meant to be a baseline number. If we did nothing, we would be here.
You did.
But it's a projection.
All right, it's a projection. Okay, I'm not gonna beat about this projection, okay.
But it's,
Okay.
you know, but if it's a flawed projection, because it
Right.
doesn't account, it does not account for a decrease in population, it doesn't account for all those
So then
things.
you-
So-
School population, school.
You can easily get those enrollment numbers.
Yeah.
And we can have a non-projected, projected number.
But I mean, what he had to do was establish some bases that you can work from.
Get a ball,
Because,
yeah, gotta get on the field somewhere.
You
Right.
Oh, I get it.
you either start with a blank sheet or you start with something that people can throw stuff at and say, I don't like that. Now you work from there, and that's what
Which is
he's,
fine, it's fine. Told you, thick
Let's go
skin.
back to Joe's comment that keeps coming up too, is I know the town paid for the gym. I know the gym is supposed to be there, but in any situation where money is raised and something is donated to the town, there's still cost to maintain it and run it. So they do have to charge for the lights and the heat and the well-being, and I get that. What I want to see is it more open back up to the public again, is what I'm saying. So on that one, didn't mean to open up another can of worms on that, but I think there's a lot that we can save. So we're not having our cleaning services. You know, we have the cleaning right now, and I think it's still possibly it was, and it got dropped. But we have someone clean the town offices and the schools. We can have somebody, share on that services and stuff like that. There's a lot that each individual organization has done that we can combine.
Because what we do, what she's talking about there was that was part of that one Raven concept, and what happened. We did some of the maintenance there. They had some of the custodial people do the cleaning in there. So
Yeah,
And
each side
they
was getting
dropped
something
that.
from it.
Well,
Everybody was happy.
they took away the plowing from us, which was I think we were only charging like $7,000.
They
And
took it away to pay more.
Pay a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Made a lot
now,
of sense.
Yeah, I
but
think
now we
I
got
think
it
the figure
back
that I
again,
heard
and
was
I don't
like
even know what the cost is.
45 or 49,000.
Yeah.
It was like big, huge.
It's amazing.
All right. And so
we
from a
have not-
programs you haven't met yet,
Nope.
so you're going to try and now that people are back in town.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little overcommitted professionally right now, but I will do my best to. I think if we can just go with a baseline of what we have for programs in place, then let's work
But
off
it's,
that.
I mean, the thing to look at it is say, okay, here's where we're at today. Where do we think we want to be, and can we get there? Because, if all you're doing, if all you're going to do is just, do a rubber stamp of what you got now, you're missing some opportunities.
I'll take input. I honestly don't have a lot of time to put effort into something that I don't believe in. And I'm not willing to take a lot of time away from my family. That's really important to me to do this, so.
So you don't think it's valuable that we could have a better system here?
Oh, I do. I'm just saying finding time right now
Okay,
is
but,
is
I mean,
smart.
if people don't see value in doing something that's can be better, then, that's fine, but never complain later. Never complain when all of a sudden everything explodes and the services get worse and things get bad. You lose your ability to complain about it.
Well,
That's what they have to understand.
let me throw something out there then, and don't mean this the way that it's gonna sound.
I'll say it then. Want me to say it then?
What Joe meant to say was?
No, yeah, but
Marshall told Joel to say it.
and I respect your decision.
Oh, no, I totally
really
understand
do.
getting pushback. I'm fine.
I
I'm fine.
no,
I really am.
what I'm asking for then, because we are now to the point that we have moved on to the next step as to
Right.
what we have to give to the public. And I don't feel from your comment now that you can give that 100%. So I am requesting that the school board then put somebody else in this position.
I don't know that you're gonna.
But they have to, because it's not fair to the public, it's not fair to us, to the work. So I am requesting that something else be done then. And it's not against you, please understand that. Because
fine.
you just said that for something you don't believe in, you don't want to put the time in. And right now, what the people are griping about and complaining about is the lack of programs and services.
Right.
And you got the ball on that one. And I
Let me-
think what you're doing right now is just saying, hey, I'll
Yeah,
get to it when I get to it. And again, please don't take it the way that it's
No,
sounding.
no.
Because it's not. But I need to know that. I know you were forced to be on here. I get that. I understand that.
As with the other two members.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, you know,
But still,
but I mean, honestly, no one from that school board's gonna come in here with an open mind because
No, they're not.
they've been brainwashed
Right.
by the administration
Right.
of the school. So.
not
I-
only the administration of the
Yeah,
school.
and
So,
other people.
Yeah.
But I think we just need to move forward.
I know that, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, but how do we do that when we can't even
Well,
have some kind of a
Then
presentation?
what we do, I'm gonna put a date out there, I need something from programming by December 31st.
That's
If I can't have it, then I'm gonna
think
put
that's
out
great.
what's there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I understand. No, and again, I'm not, I had to drive up to Augusta today, spent a lot of time thinking in the car. I'm not trying to be a real pain in the you-know-what.
I don't-
I'm really,
No.
really not. It's just there's a lot going on right now for me, work-wise, and
And so even
Yeah.
in that case too, maybe it might be better for Anna or Janny to.
yeah, well, and then, but
to-
everyone's busy. Everybody's busy.
I know,
So,
we all are,
I
yeah, right.
I totally
so,
recognize and respect that, so.
So, but I guess what I'm
I
thinking
like
is.
Marshall's,
Okay.
yep.
December 31st, programming. Well,
I
I
just think
move
that's
on.
what people need
Yeah.
to
Yeah, no,
see.
no.
And no complaining. If I move on, no complaining.
Okay,
See what happens when you cross over to the dark side of the select board? You become not. That's what I told myself. You're swearing it. Like when he
I mean,
swears.
workshop, we've been kind of integrating that in
It
there,
is,
so there's,
What?
I say, we had a workshop session in there, but essentially it's what we've been discussing, so. Next meeting,
Mark said, I think October 15th and the
No,
13th.
he had 2 days that,
He couldn't do it, is what I mean, yeah, 15th or
Dan,
22nd
not
maybe,
Mark,
or,
Dan,
that was Dan.
yeah.
I'm gone from the 20th through the 24th.
October?
Yeah.
I'm going from
he
the
can't do
8th
the
to the
15th or the
16th.
22nd.
Which one?
He can't do the
15th or the 22nd, he can't do.
Yeah, I
17th
can't do that.
looks
Right,
good.
no, I can't do it from the 8th to the 15th.
Well, the 8th is the select board
17th.
anyway. 8th is select board.
I'm
so-
leaving for Canada next morning.
So it would have to be either, well, the first is kind of too close. So it would be the 29th.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
What about the 17th?
I can't do that either.
Well, yeah, that's Columbus week, so. Well, I mean, Dan said, would
The-
be,
15th and 22nd.
so what about the 21st?
I'm out.
Yeah.
You're out?
I can only really do Tuesdays. Unless it's a Wednesday that we don't have a school board, but that's even, can be touch or go.
I'm open the whole last week of October, so.
Is that Tuesday then, last week?
The
I'm out of
29th,
town
but
that,
she's
Oh,
I'm
out.
out
right,
of town, sorry.
That whole week you're out of town?
I'm out of town Tuesday to Wednesday.
What about the first week in November?
But I could do the 28th of October. That Monday opens up.
Did you say you're going, Joe, the 28th?
No, I'm good the 28th.
So the 28th would work for people?
Yeah.
Okay, 28th. Subject to change. 6 o'clock still work for people?
6 o'clock. Works for me.
All right. If there's nothing else, meeting is adjourned.